Hey everybody, Hellcorrex here. I'm just putting out a video here. I've just been thinking about some Battletech and differences and uses or not. So I guess it's like between energy weapons and ballistic weapons, or even, I guess it's ammo. Let's just put it ammo versus energy type weapons. You always look at it in the game is that you're always going to have those cases where you're going to have a mech just implode or explode, or however you want to put it, when you get an ammo hit, because you get some of these mech designs. Let's focus mostly on the 3025 before the era of case, which kind of protects a mech from going totally explosion, scattering its parts everywhere. But when you look at ammo, it seems like about every it depends on the size of the game. There's been quite a few games where you have an ammo explosion every game, just because you may have 15, 20 mechs on a side, and you got that many mechs blown away at each other. There's always going to be an ammo explosion probably about every game. It just depends on how well protected that ammo, because there's a lot of times, it's like if I'm designing my mech, it's like, all right, I'm making the mech sheet, and I look at it and go, woo, okay, I'd rather move my heat sinks or something of that nature, or maybe the launcher in around where that ammo. It's like, okay, I got one ammo bay, and I got some extra heat sinks. I'm always, you look at a mech, and there's like the dervish for that, and that's a great example of one where it's like, you look at it and go, ooh, okay, it's just ammo. Why is there just... He's like, you get a chance critical, get one crit. Okay. Boom. Gone. Mech has exploded. You always got to look at it and go, I really want to just turn around and put some stuff around to kind of protect it. You put it, basically pillowing it, decreasing your chances. If you got 3 slots, it's like one of them is ammo, you got 1 in 3, 33% chance of getting that ammo hit on 1 crit chance. If you got more in there, it's like you got 3 or 6 things in there, you got 1/6 chance of taking that, getting hit. And each time you get a crit in there, it's gonna, your chance to get greater hitting the ammo. But you got to look at it and trying to protect it. But in most of the times, I'm always looking at my mechs and go, okay, personally, I'm a energy type of mech player, but I do see the benefits of having an SRM or a LRM. I'm not a big fan of autocannons personally, because just so much tonnage wrapped up in a weapon system that does 5 damage, 2 damage, 5 damage, 10 or 20. And personally, if I had a choice between all those, maybe I'd probably go more with, if you just got an AC-10. An AC-10 is a nice chunk of damage. That's 10. You're stripping off a lot. An AC-5, bang for your buck, you're really not getting a lot. You're probably better off. You look at the difference between having an AC-5 or a large laser. Every mech is going to have 10 heat sinks on it. And this is why I always looked at it. It's like, hey, if I got a light mech or a medium mech, I personally would rather have a large laser or even a PPC, because you're going to come with 10 free heat sinks on that mech. And there's no reason to be putting an AC-5 on something as, oh, you're saving the heat cost. Are you really? I'd rather have something that would, do some damage and balance itself, because a large laser, and you're running that mech, if you run the mech, there's 10 heat. It's like the engine is taking care of itself. And a lot of mechs, you could probably get away with just having the large laser and then maybe some short range stuff out. And personally, I'm a big fan of the medium laser. That is your best bang for the buck you can find in the entire inner sphere. For 1 ton, you can do 5 damage out to 9 hexes. 9 hexes is not really a long range, but it works. It does the job well. And if you have 4 tons, you can put 4 of those things on there, and you can do just as much damage with 4 tons as an AC-20, which is taking up over 12 tons. which is giving you more bang for your buck. If like you had that 12 tons, you look at the Hunchback, the Swayback. That mech will tear a mech apart better than its counterpart, you know, the standard with running around with the AC-20. Now, the AC-20 does have the option, if you do hit it, you can head cap somebody, or do, you know, hit them in the chest and just tear all the armor off and get into the nice juicy parts with one shot. I understand that. It's, you know, it's kind of, I always look at the AC-20 as kind of a terror weapon if it connects, but I always look at it as a gambling weapon because you got so much tonnage wrapped up in something that's going to do a chance of hit, and you don't necessarily have the ability to go out there and hit somebody at long range with it. All right. So, when you look at the difference between energy weapons and ballistic or missile weapons, a lot of times if I have the same tonnage, I'd probably be more inclined to not even go with a ballistic weapon and go with a missile weapon. Yes, there's the minimum ranges when it comes to the inner sphere. We're not talking clans yet. But if you're talking just 30-25 tech inner sphere, yes, you have the problem with minimum ranges. That's, you know, 6 or less, and it just gets worse as it gets closer. But you do have a weapon system that, you know, for basically, let's say you put 4 or 5 tons into an LRM-5, it goes out to 21. Does only 5. Most likely it's going to do 3 on an average. That's more of a harassment type of weapon, but you do have something that you can throw on a lighter mech and give it some potential of doing some indirect fire or direct fire, however. So, but you always have that chance of exploding if somebody gets into your internals. And I always like to preface this, all right, most of the time people when they're playing Battletech are going to be doing pickup games. You just like, all right, we're going to be playing, let's say 5,000 points, you know, for Battle Valor, or not Valor. Yeah, that's a different game. Ooh, got that on my head right now, but Battle Value, or your BV in points, and you point out your force and you try to balance it, and let's say, okay, we're not going to use any kind of custom mechs, these are going to be book mechs that come from the factory, and then you're kind of stuck with what they build for you, and you got to just look at it, it's like, okay, what kind of mechs can I pick to give me the ability? Say it's a pickup game, you're not really worried too much about ammo, because most of the time, most pickup games, you're lucky if they last 8 to 12 turns, and most mechs carry enough ammo to go through and last that long. You know, that's kind of like how the game was designed, is, you know, you're not going to have a long time just playing it with each other, so it's like, hey, we're going to be playing for 4 hours, let's get about 5-10 turns in, somewhere in there. Depends on how fast you can play the game. Some people really play slow, others that, you know, really veteran status that don't even think about it. They just go on autopilot. It's like, oh, shoot, go, move, 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 move. And if you're using a system where you can just like move quickly and make the game speed up. But a lot of times if you're playing campaigns, you're going to be looking at, is it worth the energy? Yes, energy weapons are really good when it comes to campaigns because you don't have to worry about ammo. You don't have to worry about explosions. You're getting more bang for your buck. You know, that you're putting 5 tons in for a large laser. Yes, it's only going out to 15, but you know, a lot of mechs, you look at it, you're able to put a lot of different equipment on board and handle it. Now in 30-25, you don't got the double heat sinks, and you have the potential of heating yourself up and shutting down or slowing down. And I've seen it many times where in games where people decide to heat their mech up and explode it because they have ammo on board. And that's a lot easier to do if you have a lot of energy weapons. You know, obviously in the 30-25 area, you got single heat sinks. So you have to be a good player and know the balance of your mech. That's one of the biggest problems a lot of people have, is they don't look at a mech and see how well balanced it may be. It's like, oh man, I fire all these weapons, I explode. Yeah, because you're not looking at it. It's like, all right, these weapons are made for shooting at this range. These weapons are made for shooting at that range. And then when you get in close, you're going to only use these weapons and keep it rolling. You know, that's why you're going to find a lot of battles when you're playing Battletech is they devolve into a fisticuffs. Kicking, punching, gouging, you know, getting down on the ground, beating somebody over the head with a ripped off arm or whatever it may be. And that's the whole way I learned how to play the game back in the 80s and 90s. You know, that's just how it is. And obviously, if you throw clans in it, then that changes the whole concept of the game. You know, you can play the game the old way, but when clans show up, that's out the door. But anyway, I'm just curious, what is your preference? Like, are you going to be, if you had your choice, would you throw the ballistic weapons completely out of the game? It's like, all right, I'm not going to use those on my mechs. I'm going to be using LRMs, SRMs, and energy weapons. Or I'm a type of person that says, hey, I'm just energy weapons all the way. Or I'm, let's say, 75% energy weapons with maybe a SRM thrown into the mix, or something of that nature. Let's say you got a Warhammer, you got rid of the machine guns and you kept the SRM. All right, so everything else is energy weapons. I'm just curious what your preferences are in the game. It's just a little questionnaire going out to the public that follow me. Hope you guys like it, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcranks out.